The DEA seized over 60 million fentanyl-laced pills last year and nearly 8,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That is over 380 million lethal doses. That's more than enough to kill the entire United States. Twice. A 19-year-old freshman, stressed during finals, popped what she thought was a Xanax from a friend. She never woke up. One pill to try and ease the stress and ease her anxiety, and she's gone. About South Lake Tahoe, 4 people died during a Super Bowl party. They shared a few lines of what they thought was cocaine. A lot of people who aren't addicts, like I said. Fentanyl is a chemical weapon to a point. It's not a drug. It shouldn't be a mistake. It's a weapon. It's killing people. Hey guys, it is May the 8th, 2025. And I'm going to talk about something today that gets us away from the division in the country. I know you're asking yourself, well, why would you do something like that? Because you have so much to say about all these wonderful things that divide us. Well, sadly, this topic is not a good one, but I do believe that we can all come together and agree that it's something we need to handle. I'm going to hit something that's a little bit hard to talk about, but people don't seem to be either wanting to talk about it or they're pretending it doesn't exist for the wrong reasons. And that is fentanyl in this country. Fentanyl doesn't care if you vote red or blue, or if you think RFK Jr. sucks, or if you hate Elon Musk, or if you love Elon Musk, or our president. It is not a partisan issue. It's an equal opportunity assassin right now. It kills across party lines. Imagine that, a bipartisan killer. A 100% approval rating, finally, behind heart disease and mass shootings. So while we scream at each other over gas prices, plastic straws, and possible TikTok bans, fentanyl is quietly racking up a higher body count than any war, virus, or school shooting. It's not slowing down either. That's the problem. So I want to break down what it is, how it's getting here, why it's killing so many people, and how us pretending it's someone else's problem is exactly why we're here in the first place. So let's roll. We'll start with some numbers. I like to do that, add a little credibility to what I'm saying. 112,000 overdose deaths in 2023, according to the CDC. 70%
of those deadly overdoses
were fentanyl related. That's a big number. And it's now the leading cause of death for Americans ages 18 to 45.
It's the leading cause of death for people 18 to 45 years old.
The leading cause, not heart disease, not traffic accidents, not cancer. This is no longer a drug crisis, but more like a public health collapse. I feel like part of the problem is that we're comforting ourselves to believing that this is just an addiction problem. These are just addicts and they're being addicts, and, you know, like the homeless issue or like other drug issues. And it's just not. It's veterans, it's college students, executives. One bad pill and you're now a statistic. So fentanyl, and I looked some of this up. You hear about it. You hear about the opioid issues. I talked about it a little bit in the state of Maine when I lived there. But I really wanted to know more about what this was. And it's a synthetic opioid, and it was originally developed for pain management in cancer patients. It is 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine and around 30 to 50 times more potent than heroin. Here's the kicker, just 2 milligrams. I'm talking about 2 little grains of salt can be lethal. That's a huge issue. And what makes it worse is that most people don't even know that they're taking it. That's the problem. It's cut into fake pills. Counterfeit Xanax, Adderall, oxycodone, and then they're laced into cocaine and heroin as well. Not that those things are great, but definitely not the high that you were looking for. So you might think you're getting a party drug or having a nice little line of coke, and that's not the case. You end up in a body bag. According to the DEA, 42% of pills tested. Again, I'm not a mathematician, but 42% is close enough to half of the pills tested had potentially lethal dose of fentanyl. 42%. So we're going to talk about the supply, and this is where I get a little fired up, and you should too. This isn't homemade. It's not backyard meth labs in the middle of nowhere. It is supplied. I want to get this right so I don't mess it up. The precursor chemicals are supplied by China. Yes, our friends in China. Before you question that, multiple U.S. government agencies, the DEA, Homeland Security, and the State Department have publicly documented that most of these precursor chemicals do come from China. This isn't just some sort of conspiracy theory against the Chinese. Those chemicals then go to Mexico, where they're purchased from China, and are pressed into pills by the cartel. And of course, they come in through our southern border, mostly. So I researched more into this because I wanted to know how involved the Chinese government was. Are they aware of this? And if so, what the fuck is their problem? China has taken some public actions. They've banned all forms of fentanyl and its analogs in 2019 after pressure from the US, participating in limited cooperation with the DEA on some of the trafficking cases. But the truth is this: they've cracked down on fentanyl shipments. China's enforcement on the precursor exports remains very, very weak. And the U.S. accuses them of willful negligence, is the term used. The companies continue to sell the chemicals under aliases, and the Chinese government has very little incentive to aggressively police the trade, especially since it mainly harms Americans and serves as a geopolitical leverage, if you will. The DEA seized over 60 million fentanyl-laced pills last year, and nearly 8,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That is over 380 million lethal doses. That's more than enough to kill the entire United States twice. What I don't understand is how people are still arguing about how important border security is. I realize that it becomes an immigration issue, and I realize that it becomes we need to have due process for illegal immigrants. Okay, that is another conversation, and I'm willing to have it. In fact, I'm sure I will, as I've already had it in the past, and will continue to do so. But the closing the border down is the number one way that this stuff comes in, and it's already in pill form, and it spreads. How are we supposed to monitor this? Someone goes to a party, some high school kid goes to a party, and they think they're, doing something. Obviously, you don't want them doing drugs to begin with, but let's be real. Kids are kids, adults are adults, and every party might have anybody and everybody doing these things. Snorting cocaine, heroin, things like that. And all of a sudden, you don't know what you're taking. So explain to me how open borders and national security can coexist when fentanyl's slipping through. You don't have to wear a red MAGA hat to admit that letting cartels waltz in with chemical weapons, which is essentially what they are, it's not good policy. Can't we come together and say that? Do you have to be on the right side wanting secure borders to believe this? Can we not come together? As much as you dislike Donald Trump, can you come in here and say, you know what? I'm on board. We can finally agree. Closed borders good, open borders bad when it comes to this wide distribution of fentanyl. Just try. Goodness gracious, people. But this is where it does get a little bit divisive. So do we crack down harder on the addiction, so the people, the addicts, the drug users, if you will, or do we treat the addiction more like a disease? And the answer is yes, to both. There's nothing wrong with doing both. Now, here's what Narcan, I'm going to say Narcan, is, and rightfully so. A shocking number of people don't really know. I didn't, I looked it up. So Narcan, or naloxone, is a medication that reverses opioid overdoses. It works by blocking the let me try that again. It blocks the opioid receptors in the brain, essentially rebooting your respiratory system if you've stopped breathing. That seems to be key. And it's a nasal spray. It's easy to use and it works in seconds. It can literally bring somebody back from the dead if used in time. So as of March 2023, Narcan is available over the counter, but its access is very uneven because of lower income communities. Sure, it's not cheap. Some cities are setting up safe consumption sites. They're handing out fentanyl test strips and training civilians on overdose response. Others are pushing for longer sentences and stricter border patrol, like I just mentioned, and aggressive DEA operations. Again, it's not one or the other. We can do all of these things. So the smart move, again, treat the addiction as a health issue and the trafficking as a national threat. It doesn't seem very difficult, yet I don't see all of these things happening. It's not getting better. I'll repeat that. It's getting worse. So we'll step out of the data for a second into the real world so I can put things in perspective for you. Just imagine Carter McIntosh, 28-year-old investment banker in New York. He wasn't addicted. He died after using cocaine laced with fentanyl at a party. Probably went to a party, a business party, and said, hey, let's have a little fun, do a line or two. Family found him in his apartment, dressed for work the next morning, dead. At UCLA, in college, a 19-year-old freshman, stressed during finals, popped what she thought was a Xanax from a friend. She never woke up. One pill to try and ease the stress and ease her anxiety, and she's gone. About South Lake Tahoe, 4 people died. 4 people died during a Super Bowl party. They shared a few lines of what they thought was cocaine. It was laced with fentanyl, of course, and nobody, not a single one of them, made it alive. These aren't cautionary tales from some after-school special. I'm not trying to give you these, but these are people knew these people. These are the same people that you know, people you love. One mistake, some people would argue, let's not snort cocaine. I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is that the result of a line of cocaine should not be death, and it was. One mistake, no second chance. This is the part we don't just scream into the void. We actually take some steps. Flood the streets with Narcan. Again, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. The same way we did hand sanitizer in 2020. Treat it the same, if not more important. Legalize and distribute fentanyl test strips in every state. Crack down on the online drug sales. Teens are buying this stuff. It ends up being, fake Xanax and fake uppers and downers and all of the above. And they buy it on Snapchat and Instagram and all over the place. We got to stop that. You got to think that we can have regulations to monitor and prevent this from happening. And then we really need to fund real rehab programs for those who are addicted to these types of drugs, not just those 1-month detox that charge 40 grand and they boot you out with a granola bar and say good luck. And then, of course, like I said, and I'm very adamant about, secure the border. Real enforcement, not hashtag secure the border or let's bitch about it to each other. Let the team do the work and let's get it done. We have a great team down there and let them do their job. Lastly, we need to hold China accountable for this chemical pipeline that they run. This isn't a cartel issue only, it's foreign policy that has a body count. People get worked up over these tariffs that we've been putting on China, and so far as to some of the leadership that opposes the administration right now, siding with China, putting Chinese flags in their profile pictures. Are you kidding me? This isn't just about sticking it to Donald Trump and the tariffs that I still believe will work, and you don't know otherwise. We'll see. But the point is that China is not a friend to the United States. Whether you want to talk about COVID all you want, and whether you want to talk about this is not okay for China to be doing, and we're just kind of not talking about it. We need to hold China accountable, and there are ways to do that. In closing, again, this was just to kind of slap you hard with this. Be aware from somebody who admittedly didn't know a lot about it and did kind of turn a blind eye to it. Oh, it's just drugs. Well, it's not just drugs. There's a lot to it, and it's killing people. A lot of people who aren't addicts. Like I said, fentanyl is a chemical weapon to a point. It's not a drug. It shouldn't be a mistake. It's a weapon. It's killing people. China's producing it. Mexico's finishing it off and pouring it in through the border. Hopefully that's stopping a little bit now that the border has been secured. But it's killing people across every race, every income level, every political view. I might disagree with a lot of lefties, or I might have an issue right now with certain cultures and the way they're raising their children. But guess what? We're all one team when it comes to this. And I hope you agree with that. If this was a virus, we'd be on DEFCON 1. But because it's drug related, we shrug and we just blame the users and we move on. Oh, he shouldn't have snorted coke. It's too bad. And I don't know if I agree with all that to a point. So this is the part where you either stay numb to it or you get loud and say, hey, fuck China. Strengthen our borders. Let's get this reversal medication and the nose spray and the strips and all that. Let's have it ready. Tell your kids as they get older, you're not just taking something that someone thinks might be cool or something that's going to give you a quick high. You never know. Enough of it's out there. This isn't a 1 in a million thing. You heard the percentages that I gave you. So that's all. As usual, if this made you uncomfortable, good, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring these things to your attention in kind of an uncomfortable way. Some of it's sarcastic. Sadly, that's what gets us to react and respond. If I just gave you the statistics and said we need to watch this and be careful, it might not have the same impact. And I say that admitting full well that I respond the same way. So that's what I'm trying to do. Carry the Narcan, carry the strips if you see it, know where they are. Talk to your kids. Again, I said it, look at your friends a little bit longer when you see them. Just, live in the moment. I mean, this stuff's kind of taking everybody and people aren't realizing it. It's not just policy failure, unfortunately. It's a death toll that we're just kind of learning to live with. And I have a problem with that because we shouldn't be learning to live with anything. So I'll end it here. Until next time, stay informed, stay pissed. Because that's how we get things done, I feel, sadly, is to be pissed. Keep asking questions. Please stay laughing and stay in the grave. Love you guys.